session because they're going to be doing some really cool stuff. So I'm going to ask if somebody could shut those doors for us. Thank you. Oh, okay. Here we go.
No.
All righty. Are you guys having a good day?
Yes.
So I think we're going to end this in a really good way because we have something really exciting to share with you now. You are here to hear a really interesting story about innovative and new technological ways to enhance the quality of life of the residents that we serve, and some really interesting work that the Warwick School District and Pleasant View Retirement Community did with an intergenerational project. I don't want to take too much of their thunder, I just want to do the introductions, and want to mention that after they finish this presentation, they are sticking around. They've got their equipment set up in the reception area so that you can actually try some of this stuff yourself and see how it works up close and personal. So it's exciting. We're happy to have them. A lot of you know that I have a son named Matthew, and I'm extremely proud of him. And not too long ago, he left Schuylkill County for a job in the Warwick School District. And I was pretty mad about that. I'm still not crazy about it, but he's happy as a clam. He's on faculty at Warwick, and he's been telling me about this project. And then one day, one of the local news stations picked up on the story, and he sent me a link. And that's how we learned about Bradley Dunn. And the rest is history. You are going to really be amazed at what they've been able to accomplish. So let me explain who we got here. Right here to my left is Mr. Keith Hoover. He actually works at Pleasant View Retirement Community. He's their Director of Information Technology. So he was the conduit at the facility that worked with Bradley to put this all together. Now, Dr. Axe is sitting next to him, and he's the Director of Secondary Education at Warwick School District. Now, the way that worked with Warwick is that they have a really neat program where they have interns in their senior class who go out into the community and partner with businesses to get some real-life experience. And it just so happened that Bradley was perfect for this new technology project at Pleasant View. So obviously, next to him is Mr. Bradley Dunn, and he is a senior student at Warwick School District who's getting ready to graduate and do, I believe you said you're starting at Hack,
yes,
and then heading toward Millersville, and already trying to figure out how to do it free. So you gotta admire that. And it wouldn't be right if we didn't tell you all that Bradley's parents are here and extremely proud of their son for getting to present a statewide conference. So we want to welcome all of you here to our statewide Ombudsman conference. I'm going to shut up and let you tell us the story. Oh, that's right.
Good afternoon, everybody. Gotta wake this up here. Hopefully not wake up the audience. All right. Well, I'm sort of the equivalent of the opening act here. I play a few songs, and then the main band comes on stage with Bradley here. But I did want to tell you a little bit about how we got started with virtual reality at Pleasant View Retirement Community. First, a little bit about me. I've been at Pleasant View for 13 years now, and working in the long-term care industry for about 15, always doing information technology. When I first heard about virtual reality, I kind of thought it was more focused on the gaming industry or the gadget-minded, that sort of thing, and didn't really think about the possibilities of where this technology could take us. And that changed actually through a personal experience that I had with my family. I attended church about 2 years ago. We were working to resettle a Syrian refugee family. And they had settled in Lancaster City, literally off the plane only maybe 2 days, family of 5. Now, my own family is also a family of 5, and we got tapped to introduce my children to their children because they happen to be the same ages, same genders. This was startling to me because, first of all, we had the language barrier, you have the cultural barrier, you name the barrier, we essentially had it. But we were to visit them in their home, and we did have a translator. And my 8-year-old daughter, before we were heading out, asked me, what was their life like? In her innocent curiosity, and I realized I had no idea. And so I started to look around to see if I could give her something to go on, and I stumbled across a project that United Nations did. It's called Clouds Over Sidra, and it is a 8-minute virtual reality clip of a refugee camp. Now, this family I was working with had literally been in a refugee camp for 6 years. Their youngest daughter fled when she was only 3 weeks old when they fled to the refugee camp. So really, that was her only life experience. So I loaded this up in the headset and showed it. It's a 12-year-old explaining her life. And I'm going to play you a short little clip of it here.
We have to play football quickly because there are so many kids waiting to play. Especially now. Unlike home, here in Zachary, girls can play football too. That makes us happy.
And through this small virtual reality experience, there was a connection there. To make a long story short, we did visit, and you know, us adults with all our insecurities and everything sort of had difficulty communicating to each other. Kids jumped right in, started talking about football, playing football for them, soccer for us. And immediately I thought to myself, we need to start doing this at Pleasant View. And so the curiosity, I think, is the key word through this project. It's the curiosity, it takes us to different places. It's curiosity about each other, your life experiences, your narrative, that really we were trying to tap into. So, and I noticed actually over the weekend there was a newspaper article that came out. It was talking about the problem with bullying now in senior centers and nursing communities. We often think about it as something isolated to schools and high schools, but it's becoming a real problem now in retirement communities. And obviously VR isn't going to fix everything, but it is a tool in which we can connect with each other and appreciate each other's narratives. So, as I started considering how we might do that at Pleasant View, I came across a video that CBS Morning News did. I'll play that for you. And this I played for our leadership team in the boardroom.
In today's morning rounds, how virtual reality technology can help overcome limited mobility. The VR industry is still in its infancy. Just over 2 million headsets are expected to be sold this year. But one MIT startup believes this cutting-edge technology is the perfect fit for seniors. Michelle Miller witnessed the unexpected pairing at one of Massachusetts' senior community. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. Well, the company is called Rendeavor, and it's working towards a future where the physical limitations many seniors face won't prevent them from attending, say, a granddaughter's wedding. They'll be able to travel virtually and in real time. The men and women here at the Brookdale Senior Living Community don't need to leave the building to take a trip to the French countryside.
Castles upon castles.
They've got the power of virtual reality.
Unbelievable.
They can soar through Yosemite National Park and explore the depths of the ocean.
Oh, look at that fish.
Whoa. Oh my God.
MIT grad students Dennis Lally and Reed Hayes are pioneering the use of this technology with seniors.
I feel for the people living inside these communities that they don't have enough stimulation. You need to have a sense of wonder about the world again. They need to be curious. They need to be exploring. And when you're physically not able to do that by yourself, then virtual reality is a wonderful way to provide that.
Much of the touring is done through Google Maps footage like this, but they also showcase 360-degree films.
Oh, I'll go shopping. Drop me off.
Vanessa Rosenwijk has been living here for 2 years. You talked through the whole event.
When I tour, I had to stop and answer questions.
So you're like this in real life.
Oh no.
The experience is even more meaningful for seniors like Marion Keith. She got the opportunity to return home.
Do you recognize the house?
Yeah, well, wait a minute. Oh, don't say that. That's the beautiful area in the world.
You touched off her emotion. She felt something.
Absolutely. Other people in the room felt it. And those are extremely powerful moments that a 2D picture just won't provide.
Then when? Who did this?
In a follow-up interview, we asked Keith about her experience, but she struggled to take us back to that precise moment. But what does that tell you is happening?
It's a spark. Without us bringing her there, she wouldn't have had those memories. She wouldn't have remembered the neighborhood that she walked in and the fact that her husband worked on the back of her house. Virtual reality allows us to really spark that new memory.
Thank you. Good spot. Thank you.
Nothing can ever replace human touch and human interaction.
Neurologist Gayatri Devi says while virtual reality does indeed have the power to stimulate, the brain is a complex organ that benefits from real connection.
It needs to be able to feel the texture of the place. It needs to be able to smell the place. It needs to be able to taste the place.
To your child.
Abdu Shakur, a chef, says he's still got many traveling days ahead of him.
Wow, this was phenomenal.
But he was overjoyed to virtually visit a restaurant he opened in Berlin nearly 2 decades ago.
That's seriously addictive. Come on. I could stay there just, go wherever I want without going anywhere.
Well, Lally and Hayes plan to start offering their service to senior communities for an upfront fee plus a monthly subscription.
All right, you can go wherever you want.
You can.
Yeah. Go.
No, I was just going to say, and a lot of people don't have that opportunity to get up and go.
Which is why I feel like we're concerned about spending time for our children. But for seniors, it's a perfect application for that point exactly. That's a wonderful story. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
So obviously you can see the impact of that video. And I often reference this as I play this for our leadership team as the easiest unapproved expense that I ever got done in the leadership team. Our VP of Ops had tears running down her eyes and said, how can we not do this? And our Director of Development said, well, I have full confidence we can get this paid for through donations or whatever else. So yeah, and so we're off and running, and obviously Rendeavor, I immediately decided to start looking into them. unfortunately, and I'm guessing it has a lot to do with the fact of all the publicity they have, I didn't get a call back. So I was like, okay, well, let's just look at that video and see what they're doing. And what I was surprised to find is almost everything they are doing are fairly easily accessible tools that anyone can easily get their hands on. So we just decided to do a DIY and just see what we could do ourselves. So as we started, we knew we wanted to, first of all, you need to realize I am one of two people at our retirement, two IT people at our retirement community. So time is not in excess for me to start something like this. We have been undergoing a strategic plan to start to make ourselves less the home on the hill where all the old folks live, and actually try and be a critical member of our community. And as part of that, one of the things we've done is we've made a deal with libraries coming onto our campus. We're trying to do maker spaces. And this project seemed like a perfect opportunity to engage with high school students. And so I started, along with the help of Aubrey Smith here, our volunteer coordinator, reaching out to some of the local high schools in the area. And that's when we encountered Dr. Axe here. And it's been a wonderful match. And I don't want to steal his thunder, so I'm going to hand that off to him.
So if you take a look at the handout on your table, it says Warwick Intern Program. As Keith said, my name is Ryan Axe. I'm the Director of Secondary Ed at Warwick School District, and we're thrilled to have Mrs. Tenaglia son at Warwick. I know she said that she was upset that he moved to us, but he's a tremendous band instructor and just a great person, so we're glad to have him. So just the nuts and bolts of how an intern program works. Many of you may already know that across the state of Pennsylvania, a lot of schools are looking at ways to give students more career types of options within their high school settings. And one of those ways is internships. So the internship that I describe is the one that Warwick has. If you reach out to your local high schools, they may have something very similar. They may have something that is a little bit less involved, maybe a little more involved, but I would doubt it once I describe what we're doing. But I wanted to share how you could do that if you reach out, and my contact information is on here. This is a frequently asked question sheet that I sent the very first time that Keith reached out. I sent this to him, and then we met, and then I have a whole packet of information that I go over with them as far as the expectations for our students like Bradley. So the purpose of the program is to give students in good standing with our district the opportunity to get positive, real work experience while earning high school credit. So using Brad as the example, in the spring, he has periods 5, 6, and 7 where he doesn't go to a class. He goes to Pleasant View. And then he gets 2 high school credits for attending Pleasant View and doing the work that he's going to share. And it's incredible work that he's doing right now, and Keith kind of led up to that a little bit. So we also, and you'll see a little bit later on in this worksheet, we have a teacher that's assigned to Brad, and there's assignments that he does online. He's connected still with the high school. That's how the Pennsylvania Department of Education allows us to do this. We can't just send kids out, not give them a grade, and give them high school credit. It doesn't work that way. So some high schools have an intern program where it's just on their own time, things like that, but we attach credit to it because we wanted our students to make sure they're really learning something. So the role of the companies granting the opportunity, one of the neat things is before they ever leave high school, they get a true interview type of process as far as how they get these roles. So we have 10 companies that we partner with right now. Honestly, based on so much publicity from Pleasant View, I've had a number of other companies contact me, and now we'll be up to 15 for next year without any problem. But the companies We meet with the students, we explain all the opportunities, they sign up for what they're interested in, and we tell the kids up front, we're not guaranteeing that you're going to get one of these spots. We also tell the companies there's no guarantee that you get a student, because we let the students interview with 3 different companies. So if they get offers at all the companies, they might not pick one of the companies that really wants them. So Aubrey and Keith came into our school, met with 2 of our students, one of them being Bradley. They thought both of the kids would be a good fit. Mr. Kuiper and I, who's an assistant principal who oversees the program at the high school for me, he's the student contact, I'm the business contact. We determined that Bradley was the right fit. So Bradley started with the company. The next question there, this is one that you'll need to consider if you're going to bring high school kids into your setting. Because of the changing climate in the past 5 to 10 years, anyone who supervises our students, I make sure that they have clearances. So all the clearances that any volunteer would have at Warwick High School for helping coach a sport, coming into the classroom, Aubrey and Keith have to have as well. And that's just as far as making sure our kids are safe, that's one of our top priorities. So that's something you would need to consider. If you're bringing someone into your setting, there's a high chance that the high school will say to you, who's the supervisor that has the clearances that the student will be answering to. That's really important to know. Can the students be paid while interning? We do not allow that because we're giving high school credit. CTCs, Career and Technical Centers, are able to do that because they have a different contract with the state of Pennsylvania. If we were going to do that at Warwick, there would be a lot of hoops we would have to jump through, and we feel like the credit is just as valuable because Brad doesn't have to take a couple of classes back at the high school because he's getting 2 credits for being in the internship. So what they can do, though, which the kids kind of like, is on weekends, after hours, on Saturdays, if there are hours, the companies are allowed to pay them for those. So some of our companies, for instance, now I told you we have 10 companies and we have 16 interns. There are some interns that stay till 5 or 6 o'clock at night and they get paid from 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. Or if there's a snow day, instead of sitting at home all day, if the parents give permission, they can go to work that whole 8 hours and get paid for it. And that's not on school time, so for us that's okay. So that's something that's pretty exciting for the kids as well. Right now, just our intern programs in general, 9 of our 16 kids either have job offers or have summer work based on the intern program. And that's ultimately the goal. Can a student, when can they intern? We do it in the spring. We are looking at opening up for the fall next year based on the success of a program like Pleasant View, based on the success of some of our other programs. That all depends on student credits. If the school is giving credit for this, a lot of times if you reach out, they might say, well, we can't do it that much, or they can only do it 1 period a day, or if it's block scheduling, which is usually 80 or 90-minute periods, they might say they can go out for the block. So if you're reaching out to local high schools, just remember that they might not do it exactly that is on this sheet, but these are some of the places you can start with them if you're looking to do something like this. How are the students graded? Bradley has journals that he does weekly for the teacher back at Warwick High School. He has some videos he has to watch. He has some PowerPoints that he has to create. I go out to the work site 3 times during the second half of the year, and I observe him for about 30 minutes. I fill out a criteria sheet. Keith or Aubrey also fill out a sheet about his progress, what he's learned from the last time. One of the things when I meet with companies, and I have turned companies down, because I don't want to hear that you're just going, we need an extra receptionist, and you're going to have them at the front of the cash register. I don't want to hear that you're going to have them just stocking inventory. So those are not the experiences we permit. These have to be learning experiences, and every time I visit, I ask Keith and Aubrey, what's Bradley going to be doing next? What's he learning the next time I come out? What am I going to see that he's been learning from the last time? Now with this partnership, it's all taken care of itself, and you'll see when Bradley shares what he's done, that hasn't been an issue in the least. So that's how they're graded. The last thing they get to do, and now he already has, this is like the pre-test for him, he gets to present to one of our classes. So for his final exam, he'll come and present to one of our family and consumer science classes and share with those students who are going to be 10th and 11th graders what he's done at this internship. He'll probably use some of this PowerPoint, and then hopefully that spurs interest for more kids to get into internships when they're seniors. So it's all a pay forward type of thing that Pleasant View's doing for Brad, Brad's doing back for Warwick, Warwick's doing for the community. So it's really been a really great partnership. And like I said, when kids like Bradley go out and do such a good job, the program sells itself. I don't have to reach out to companies anymore because they're hearing about how well it's going and they're coming to us, which is great. So how does Warwick promote the program? We promote it through our counseling office. I meet with all the 11th graders who are interested, and also the final exams with our students presenting. We also have Career Day tomorrow at one of our elementary schools, and some of our interns are presenting at Career Day rather than having someone from the community come in and present. We're having our own high school seniors present to our elementary kids. So that's another step that we're taking to really focus on careers moving forward. All that being said, if you are looking to start a program in your area, if you want more information, my email's right on here. Just send me the email. All the information I share is free. I don't mind. I want this for everybody. What Pleasant View is doing for their residents and what is going on with our students is worth, I don't care where it goes. I hope it goes across the state. So I don't want to steal Bradley's thunder, but there are some things maybe at the end with question and answers, some directions that we may be going here with this program. But it feels like, and you'll understand once he starts presenting, it feels like this is almost limitless with what you can do for your residents, and what you can do for your local schools. But it really feels limitless because I feel like Brad is just scratching the surface with Pleasant View now, and it's only been a couple months. And the ideas that we're generating every time I visit are just really exciting for me and exciting for the residents of Pleasant View and exciting for the kids at Warwick High School. So thank you very much. And now the star of the show.
Hello everybody. As you've heard, I'm Brad Dumb. I know my last name is Dumb. That's something you are free to make all of the jokes you want. I have heard all of it. So I'm going to start off with a little bit about me because virtual reality is a personal journey. It is a personal experience, and you're going to see why in the end, because I'm sure that you're looking at this and thinking, how is putting weird glasses on your head a personal journey? How does that make connections? So, I was born and raised in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and I was raised to have a good work ethic by my parents, Fred Dumb and Kim Dumb, who are again in the audience. And I'm a senior at Warwick High School, and ever since I was born, I've enjoyed helping people and volunteering, and I've loved technology. And this is something that when I heard about it, I thought, all three? Perfect! So this is how I started. That right there is our campus. That's Pleasant View. You know, the little home on the hill that everyone was talking about. I had attended a meeting for the internship, and Warwick told me about the internship opportunities. And when I went there, I'll be honest, I was expecting something kind of boring, like, oh, hey, you can build a steel item for 3 hours, or you can build a computer, which I absolutely respect those people, but that is not my forte. Do not let me have the hammer. And when I learned about Pleasant View, it clicked so well, and the interview went so amazingly that I knew that Pleasant View was a choice for me. So I started January 29th, 2018. It was a very snowy and cold day, and they gave me possibly the warmest welcome I could ever hope for. When I showed up, Aubrey here was the first person I saw, very fun. And she offered free lunch, which, me being a sensible person, I was just like, free food? Of course. So we go down to lunch, and I'm in line, and I shake hands with this random guy in a suit. Didn't really think anything of it until I saw his name tag, and it was his CEO, which I was just like, oh, hi, how are you, boss? And I didn't really think anything of it until he went to the table, and there he is, with a seat open right next to him, waiting for me. So, of course, at this moment, I was like, am I dressed well? Good. Is my hair okay? And it was, thankfully, and I hit it off very well. I talked very calmly, and I was very excited to start and work with the residents because I had already seen a couple people there, and everyone seemed extremely warm and happy. And when I finally got to the office, which it felt like a million miles away, but when I finally got there, I learned the technology fast, and I was ready, I was pumped. So, what is virtual reality exactly? According to Google, virtual reality is a computer-generated simulation of a three-dimensional image or environment that can be interacted with in a seemingly real or physical way by a person using special electronic equipment, such as a helmet with a screen inside, or gloves fitted with sensors. So that's really crazy to wrap your head around. I know it's a mouthful, but trust me, by the end you'll understand how exactly this can help people. Virtual reality to me is much more. It can actually redefine what people can do. It doesn't just change it, it redefines it. Many companies and groups all over the world have already been using it. In the field of psychology, people have been using it to help veterans with PTSD or people with social anxiety come to terms with things that have happened. Coca-Cola has been using it in an advertising campaign in Poland around Christmas time for Santa Claus to go around the country. A company in London that sells clothes uses virtual reality to take clients and customers to a fashion show featuring clothes from said company. And of course, it has many uses in the healthcare field, with two major uses at Pleasantview. We have group expeditions, and then we have personal tours. So what would you need for a group expedition or a group session? You would need an expedition kit with a pretty massive price tag there, as I'm sure that you guys would see. This kit comes with 10 headsets, a tablet, a router, or something for the internet, and an accessory such as a mount for said tablet, so that way you can just kind of leave it there doing whatever. So, a little bit of information. Each of the headsets needs to be connected to the tablet on the same internet, and more or less, after you do that, all you have to do would be to start a session using the Expeditions app, which is that little logo right there. That's called Google Expeditions. And then you would connect each and every phone for every resident that would be wearing a headset onto that network. So then for individual sessions is where things get a little crazy. So for individuals, all you need is one virtual reality set, which can vary anywhere from $15 to $1,000, depending on what you're getting. And depending on the headset, you may need a smartphone or a computer. If I were to personally recommend a headset, if you're looking for something good, I would be looking at the Oculus Go, which is a self-contained headset with a charger. Or if you're looking for something that's cheap, I would recommend something along the lines of a Google Cardboard. Or if you're going for all the way to the end, I would recommend what is on the slide here. This is an HTC Vive. This is probably the best headset you can get on the market right now. So this is some things you can do with it. On group activities, you can get up a group of 10 residents or more if you have more headsets. And you can get them together and use it with the app to take them anywhere in the world. You want to take them to a jungle? Sure thing. Grand Canyon? Of course. Castles? Why not? Volcano? Sure. What could go wrong? So, yes, it's awesome and it gives a huge wow factor to show, oh, this is a volcano. But there's information on the tablet to also educate residents and help give that sense of wonder, that personal connection to the location. So for example, one tour that we have on there is a tour of the Hawaii volcano parks, and things like that. So they show about how some of the lava is over 10,000 years old and how the crust is there and things like that, and a lot of wow factors. Another one I have is a tour where there's a whale in the one scene, so of course when residents turn over and see giant whale, it's like, whoa, hey! A little bit of panic there, a little bit of wow. But then we get into more interesting parts. However, first we need to go into what the residents think. Residents have really high levels of enjoyment. Almost always during the tours, I hear residents cracking jokes and smiling, and there's a connection there of, oh, I can't believe this happened. I've always wanted to go here, things like that. And it's had a consistently high turnout rate, and it's even had regulars now, people who will show up to reality sessions without fail just for that next experience, just for that next tour. In fact, one of my favorites is, there is a lady who goes to the retirement home named Lee, She shows up to every single virtual reality session near her, and she's always smiling and asking me what it is this time with the excitement of like a little kid in a candy shop. It's the most wonderful thing. So now let's talk about the personal level. You can do individual experiences, which on your phones or your tablets, you could try playing games with the residents, like there are some where you could use hand motions. But the interesting thing and the most impactful part by far is personal tours. You can talk with a resident and you can learn their past, well, that's one thing. But bringing that past to them and bringing them back in time to experience that all over again is something incredible all on its own level, and it's something that even thinking about it just fills me with happiness and always brings a tear to the eye. So how can you make these personal experiences for residents? I found through experimenting that there's a simple 4-step process that you can do. However, one thing that I want to make completely crystal clear right now is that just because you have a process, don't make it cookie cutter. Every single person on earth has a different personality and a different history. And no matter how well you can try to generalize things, there's always going to be exceptions, and there's always going to be changes and out-of-the-box ideas. Like this, for example, is definitely out of the box and not part of the norm. So step 1 of this 4-step process is to find a resident. Now, when you want to find a resident, theoretically speaking, you could pick any resident. But some things I would look for would be the 3 yeses. Are they okay with the technology? Are they open and fine with being interviewed? And do they have a past that is researchable? Like, can you find an address for a house that's still up? Can you find the street that they lived on? Things like that. Going to go into a little more detail here. With the headset, some things you should look out for is that the headsets occasionally have weight on the front of them. So some of the weaker residents, their heads may kind of droop or feel a little weak because of it. And another thing is the technology can definitely be a little scary for those who don't understand it, so you may have to explain it to them. I mean, I went through the definition and all this stuff just to make sure that everyone understood exactly what virtual reality was. And with being okay with interviewed, it's the most important part of the project by far in the beginning stages is that the person is open and okay with being interviewed. I mean, if the person I'm going to talk about later was not open, the tour would not have been half as well done as it was. And then for past is researchable, I've already gone into that. Of course, if I need our addresses and research, like some things I would recommend would be ancestry.com and newspaper.com. So then we go on to step 2. On step 2, you want to interview them. So if we're interviewing, you want to film it and make sure that you capture details. I would recommend looking at the face, just because with the face you see, oh, hey, they really enjoy this part where you talk about the house, but they're afraid of heights, so let's not put them on a mountain. And of course, another thing is, again, try not to overtalk or silence the interviewer, the interviewee, because it's their story and not yours. So even if they spend an hour and a half talking about their time on a farm, and you think a farm is the most boring thing on the universe, please do not silence them, because it's their story, and if you silence them, they're going to be a lot less likely to talk to you about other things that they enjoy. And another thing is, of course, be relaxed and have fun. More than likely, you're going to become friends with this resident. Like, I have a lot of residents that now consider me an honorary grandson for contest purposes. And it is such a wonderful feeling to see them and then they immediately say hi and wave and ask how it's going, and they treat me like one of their own. So then we have researching and building. This by far is the most crucial part. You want to make sure that the information is relevant. So make sure that you have the right address, so that way you're doing 1400 made up street and not 1300 made up street and showing them the wrong house, because that would be terrible to see during the tour. And another thing is, like I said, and avoid phobias and prejudices. If Grandma Ellie is afraid of fire, don't put them near a giant mass of lava. If Steve is afraid of mountains, don't put them super high up in a mountain. Things like that, which to me is common sense. So now let's talk about the building part here. For the building part, you're going to need a software to build it. My recommendation would be VIAR, V-I-A-R 360. It is a virtual reality software that for normal businesses is $200 per month. However, Pleasant View has a deal with them where we do it for $600 for 1 year. Another editing software you could look at is Cyberlink Power Director for $60. That will allow you to make 360-degree videos. And another software that you could look at is Adobe 360 Editor. It is extremely powerful, and they've actually come out with a new project now called Project Sidewinder, where they can take a still 360 image that's like non-3D, and they can make it so if you were to lean your headset, it would generate what's behind it. And if that's not awesome, I don't know what it is. So of course, once you gather all of your information, you want to talk to relatives and also find some more images. And of course, like for example, I have Keith here, and you'll find later the resident I'm talking to, his friend, finding me all sorts from pictures to even music, actually, believe it or not. You'll see how music plays in later, but that, in my opinion, was the most crucial part of my work. So let's go on to the final step, which is presenting it. So this is the moment of truth. You take everything you've built, and you hope it works out well, no technical issues that day, and you find the resident. And after you talk with them, make sure that they're okay with today, and that it's a good day, that they're not loopy or sick or anything like that. And then you take them to a nice and quiet place, far away from the construction people outside, or that guy that's constantly talking, or the guy who, for some reason, likes farting in the corner. So, like I said, take them as far away as you can from anything that would annoy them. And then you give them the headset, and you make sure they can handle it. Make sure that the weight's not too much that day. And then you turn on the door and let them relive their passes. If you want, you can go silent. You have background information. And with that, you just let them enjoy. And trust me, it is incredible to see the results. It's incredible to see the smiles and the tears and the happiness. And it's something that, to me, just brings so much joy and makes all the pain and struggles of researching for hours on end worth it. And then I'm going to tell you a little story about somebody named Lee Farash. And Keith, how about you introduce her for me?
So obviously, the puzzle pieces were coming into place. We had Brad, he was ready, obviously well equipped, and now we needed to identify a resident who we could take on a personal tour. And that's, I'd like to tell you about Lee Marash. She's been a resident at Pleasant View for 9 years, and she started out in our independent living apartments. She and her husband moved in, and she is a very special individual. The wallflower is not a word you would use to describe her. She has a zest for life, and somebody you couldn't help but laugh along with when you hear her cackling across the room. One of the most unique things about her, though, in her past, is she was a former lounge singer. And sang throughout Chicago and Wildwood, New Jersey, and Philadelphia. So obviously, this person had some good stories to tell. And perhaps the most important thing is she's a hand. She is not afraid to be in front of people. As a matter of fact, when we first approached her about this, we also mentioned we might be presenting her story to other people. She's like, oh, more people than know how many people. So she was always a show person, and that has never stopped. As a matter of fact, I'd like to play a little clip of one of our interviews. It talks about her as a child.
School with your friend?
Yeah, I guess I did.
And what did your classmates remember about you the most?
I was a big ham, that's what they remember.
Okay, why were you a ham? What did you
I
do?
sit down and dance and sing
Oh, okay.
at school.
exciting.
Yeah.
The other great thing about Lee is she also has a wonderful best friend named Dee Conrad, who we were hoping would be here today. She unfortunately had some health issues and could not come. But Dee Conrad has been Lee's best friend for 30-some years. It was actually the reason Lee chose to move to Pleasant View, and is essentially acting as her primary caretaker. A lot of Lee's family is not in the area. And so we first approached Dee about talking about Lee. Okay. Need a flow chart here for names, but and Dee thought, oh, she would love this. So Dee was very instrumental in essentially gathering a lot of material and also verifying some of the facts. Sometimes the facts are a little fuzzy with Lee, but yeah. So I'm really saddened she couldn't be here, but I believe we have a clip here where we can show a little bit of her background and how she knows Lee. So, and I'll hand it back to Brad here.
Thank you very much.
Enjoy school.
Oh, nice try. So this is an excerpt from the tour. This is one of the videos that I had on a virtual reality tour. This is not a 360 video, as it was inserted into the tour as like a little side window option. So you won't have to worry about any weird viewing this, like the clouds.
Rich and I first moved to Hazelmore in August of 1988 in a little cottage half a block from Chesapeake Bay. We could see the water from our back bedroom windows. Lee was a summer resident until they decided to move there full time. Made a house there. Our house was a little cottage, but it was like a summer place. They were just not for the summer. They didn't like it, so we had a trip. It was around the same time Rich and I moved in. Rich and I were still working. Rich continued working because of his job. He had territory in Eastern Shore, so he was able to still commute, so he was still working. I quit for a couple of years to be around while we got our cottage updated by renovating with a local carpenter, and my son was an electrician. When the renovations were done, I found a job at EIS as an on-site secretary. I worked in the trailer during building a PowerPoint retirement community and the courthouse in Wilmington, Delaware. I worked for 10 years and retired. I became friendly with Lee and her husband John, and the neighbors Rosemary and Tony and Ann and Chuck. We became instant friends. We went shopping and we went to lunches together, and we also went to church together. We took her and John to Annapolis for a day trip, and we had picnics twice a year by the community park by the bay. Lee was Rich's microphone for the activities and things we would chance off. We had a chicken feast in the spring and a crab feast in August. And then we got into themes. We had an Hawaiian theme, an Italian theme, a German theme, a Western theme. We would dress according to the theme. And after Lee had her knee replaced in 2004, I was retired and I started cleaning for her every other week in her apartment. Mildred Brecker and Ruth Snyder-John were also our neighbors, and they moved to Pleasant View. The girls decided to come to visit on their birthdays, January and June. So the first time, 2 times he came up here, I didn't make it here. He was with the other girls. So Rich had to take us up because none of us knew how to get to Anaheim. Rich fell in love with Pleasant View, and after a couple of years, Rich decided we should move here because things were getting harder to keep up with at Hazelmore. We signed up and moved here in 2007. Lee really missed me and called me frequently, long distance. They finally decided to sign up. And when the time came, we went and helped them pack up and move in 2009. The friendship continued, and here we are in 2018.
So then this is part 1 of the same tour. This is talking a lot more about the childhood. You're going to hear a bit more about how she was a ham and about her as a child. These are actual pictures of Lee back from when she was a singer. In fact, a little surprise for you guys. I don't know if you heard this music in that last video over all the deafening things. That was her singing. Yes, it was in 1954, believe it or not.
My first job, I think it was the Chicago Sun-Times. I was a copy girl.
And that was when you were about, what, 17 or 18?
About 17.
Okay. Then, when did you become a singer?
When I thought I knew enough about it to get out there and face the world.
Okay. So, how did you learn to sing as well as you did?
Oh, I took lessons.
Do you know the lady you took lessons from?
Yes.
What was her name?
Charlotte Bennett. She taught me stage presentation.
And did you keep in contact with her all the time you were dancing? Was she the one that got your auditions and everything?
No. I got them on my own. I really got them through the newspaper where I worked.
Okay. That's where you saw them, right?
Yeah. Hand gestures, where to look when you're singing. You don't look directly at people. You have to look at their faces.
Okay, their faces.
You have to present yourself very nicely. I think the very first nightclub I worked at in Chicago was at called the Ye Old Cellar. And it was in the basement. It was a big nightclub. The bar was all the way around the stage. And I had to sit in the middle or stand in the middle, whatever I did. And people would yell out a song what they wanted to hear. I like to sing It Had to Be You, which is an oldie.
So you were in nightclubs in Chicago, Philadelphia, Atlantic City, New Jersey, and Wildwood?
Yeah.
And who did you do the opening act for?
Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis. Yeah, Wildwood. I think they were kind of getting big. I was the opening act because I didn't know the difference. I was young and immature, you know what I mean? So they stuck me in the front of the theater, which I could do.
So as you can see, she definitely had a wild start to her life. And then this is about her meeting her husband at Wildwood, New Jersey. And here is where you actually get to hear her singing it now, or singing It Had to Be You now, versus when she sang it in 1854.
It had to be you. I wandered around and finally found somebody who could make me feel blue, could make me feel blue, and even be glad just to be sad, thinking of you. Some others I've seen might never be mean, might never be cross, and tried to be boss, but they wouldn't do, for nobody else gave me a thrill. With all your faults, dear, I love you still. It had to be you, wonderful you. It had to be you. Was John like? He was the nicest little man that I ever met. He was small, but he was crazy about me, and I tried to, what's the word? Not persuade him. I couldn't try to sway him. stubborn man. He knew what he wanted. And he wanted me. We worked together for a while. Well, he came into the club one night. I noticed his big brown eyes after I talked with him. And then he started coming in every day, every night, every day to hear me. And I thought, what does he want? He had the same songs. I mean, it just didn't make sense, but he was happy.
So of course, as you can see, that's how she met her husband, and it was a very long and happy marriage. So here's where I come into the story. I was introduced to Lee through Keith, and he told me about Lee's interesting past, showed me some of her records, and I thought, wow, this is awesome. This is a crazy opportunity. So then we went and interviewed her. She was extremely warm and open to me, and as you can see through the interview, we had a lot of fun and a lot of wonderful moments. And I researched almost religiously, trying to find and make sure that everything got right for this person, because I did not want to disappoint her, let me tell you. And it's crazy. I mean, I went through probably at least 10 to 15 websites and .orgs, .nets, you name it. Just everything I could to make sure that this was right. And then at one point, I have a second job at Target. I'm also a cashier at Target. And one day, I was talking about my virtual reality to this random woman who was going through my line. And her fiance turned out to be a cameraman at a local news station. Ironic. So get this, so she tells the cameraman, and the cameraman tells Blue Ridge, and then Blue Ridge sends out a news report. And this is an excerpt from the first time I was on the news from Blue Ridge.
The first time.
Yeah, I was on there. This will show a little more about what I was doing and what I was researching, and a little more about like what was going on.
A local retirement community is using new technology to help residents reminisce about their past or explore a destination. Our Holly Harris visits Pleasant View in Manheim to see how virtual reality is helping them reach new heights.
Hey, grab those parts. Nice.
When you hear virtual reality, you might think of video games, but this immersive technology has spawned a new role. Allowing residents at Pleasant View Retirement Community to explore a new or familiar destination. We're going to be going to the American Museum of Natural History for a bit and even recreate the past.
Sometimes you almost feel like you're going to cry of happiness for them just because it's so heartwarming and incredible.
Brad Dunn is a senior at Warwick High School. He's an intern with Pleasant View's IT department, specializing in virtual reality.
That's always a current idea. I've spent entire days just researching people based on information that I've found. I've dug up addresses, old clubs, places even hundreds of, well, not hundreds, but over 100 years old.
Brad and his mentors offer virtual reality tours of Mount Rushmore, the tropics, and even the Jurassic period. But what's most appealing is the era that belongs to the residents.
What are you most excited to learn about your past?
My singing career. It had to be you. I wandered around.
Lee Marash has performed at nightclubs throughout Chicago and can tell you all about it.
I want to sing because when I'm on the stage, I'm a ham. I let it all loose.
So Brad will take all the information he gathers to curate a virtual tour through Lee's life, using her memory, a little help from the internet, and technology.
Just the smiles and happiness it brings is just something that I hope I never forget, and something that I hope I can bring joy to a lot of people.
A joy that cannot be measured, but should be felt by all who have a story to tell.
Every person's life is priceless, and forgetting about that is something that, to me, seems like a terrible fate.
Reporting in Manheim, Holly Harris, News 11.
That's pretty incredible. Now, Brad and Lee have been working together to find content and photos from her past. He wants to have a virtual tour of her life completed in the coming weeks. Well, there's still plenty of local news coming your way on the Early Report.
Thank you. And yes, I still do believe that this entire life, like an entire, maybe multiple novels worth of just stories and experiences from a life, and then just as you get older, to lose that to me just seems like a terrible fate to just lose that. And honestly, I know that one day that I could easily end up like that too, so that's something that pushes me to want to constantly come out here and try to ensure this and set this up for the future so that I'm not the only one doing this and others can start doing this too. And I really feel like I'm going to start something incredible.
I think you are too.
Yeah. Thank you. So finally then, it was time. I'd done the tour, I'd done the research, double checked, triple checked, I even went the extra mile, quadruple checked, made sure this was right. I had done all the research and had a lot to do. I built up the entire tour, and I even fought through some technical difficulties with phones and headsets and laptops and all sorts of things. Like, I was a one-man army. I was moving heaven and earth to get this working. And all the while, I had the support of everyone, which I do not want to overshine everyone else because everyone who helped in this is just incredible. And then, when we go to present, WGAL, another local news company, contacted us, and the reporter actually told me later that she had a personal connection to this because her own grandma was her own mom was going through this and had her own memory issues. And that to me really touched my heart that they wanted to do that so much, and they contacted us and sent out a reporter in the same week, which is practically unheard of. So this is what they call the tour.
So this is the first time she saw it?
Yes, this is the first time. This is a big reveal.
In here. This is a reunion for Lee Marash and Brad Dunn.
It was a little nerve-wracking at first, I'll be honest.
All right.
So I was just like, I hope this goes great.
Oh, turkey points, yes.
Brad has been working on something special for his 94-year-old friend.
For Lee, I spent 3-4 weeks probably on the computer just researching and finding out all this information about clubs she's been at.
Brad is a Warwick High School senior, and he is making memory montages for residents at Pleasant View Retirement Community.
So now I have a little video for you to watch.
You do?
Yes.
This is the big reveal.
Oh, not that picture. That picture's gotta be 100 years old. There's my house.
Brad's goal is to transport seniors like Lee back in time.
Let's put it on then.
Using the most current technology.
It's in the beach.
Yes.
He wants them to remember who they were.
This is you, back when you sang it yourself. It's a long time ago.
And still are.
It happened to be you.
And by Lee's reaction, Brad struck the right note.
You did a very excellent job. You really did.
And it was all worth it. It was all for you.
Thank you.
Hannah McDonald.
Thinking of you.
WGAL News 8.
Isn't that so sweet? I mean, think about it. All these people, these senior citizens, they've lived full lives and have done many great things. I always say, sit back and just listen to the stories and you can learn something.
Not just beneficial for them, and obviously you see how new she was, but for us to kind of be able to see that it's beneficial
Yeah,
for all of us.
it's neat to see the pictures from the throwback days, isn't it, with her?
Great
Oh,
job.
that's sweet.
Yes.
I love it.
Yes, of course. So after we showed her the tour, she didn't want to stop, and WGAL needed to interview me, so they pulled me out in the hallway. And when they pulled me out into the hallway, something incredible happened. Keith was there to witness it, so let me tell you the story. I don't want to spoil it for you.
So one of the neat things, there were 8 tracks that we were able to pull off an old LP of hers. And obviously we've heard her sing It Had to Be You. We started playing those, and that was the only song she actually could sing along with. Over the course of maybe 20 minutes, by the end of that, she was singing word for word with all 8 tracks. And so obviously it triggered something. There was a spark there that wasn't there until she started this tour. So Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And on top of that, I've been talking with the staff and I've been visiting her, and she's been so much more energetic. She's more aware of things, she's more lively, she's showing up to activities. Like, she's a regular in my virtual reality programs. She's the one that I was telling you about earlier, super friendly, super happy all the time. It's awesome. In fact, I even included her own special edition of the tour where I was showing her a castle tour and she mentioned that she wanted castles, so I included that in an extra part of the tour just because she was talking about it so much. And in general, it's affected me. I mean, it's helped me deal with my own personal issues that came along, just helping and seeing how happy Lee was. And just, it's mind-blowing, just how much this can do. I cannot thank you all so much for giving me this opportunity. I can't believe how crazy it is that this has gone out this far. When I started this, I didn't think anything was going to happen. I thought, oh, I'll just do a nice thing and that'll be it. But it's so much more now, and I hope it's something that spreads and goes crazy all over the place. If I can even get one more person in here to start doing this, then I will die a happy man. This is something truly unbelievable and mind-blowing here. And that story did not do it justice for the reactions and the emotions and just energy in the room. It was incredible. I mean, Keith was there, another IT named Sean was there, the CEO himself showed up for it, Aubrey was there, Dr. Axe was there, Word PR people were there, like everyone was there, and everyone was talking and smiles were all around. And I really hope that's something that others can experience. I want everyone to be that happy if I can have it that way.
Oh,
Of course, yes. Well, Dr. Axe is going to talk about the effect on the internship program, and then you're doing this. So Dr. Axe, would you like to go on about that? Sure.
So I'll talk a little bit about the intern program and then we'll take questions. So what this has done, and Keith and I have talked a lot with Brad about the impact of this particular program. We've had other, of course, retirement communities reach out to us in the area. The only thing is I can't clone Brad. So finding someone, yeah, now I will say, high schools across the state, there are a lot of kids that are very tech savvy, and he's saying things that might feel like it's over your head, but as he alluded to, you know, a 10 VR goggle kit is around $4 grand. Best Buy is running a deal, they just were running a deal that's a little under 10 grand for 30 of them, and once you learn how to do the tours, he's taught other people in Pleasant View to do them. But the other thing to consider is, if you're thinking about a program like this, if you record it, these are memories for families. You know, I don't have something like this about my grandparents, and I would love to have something like this that Bradley's done, and if anyone's doing these types of things. And we've talked about, they bought a drone so that Bradley can do a virtual tour of the campus for prospective families and prospective residents. So you can see Pleasant View before you ever even come out to Pleasant View. And that's the impact that something like this has happened, and you know, just happenstance where he's at Target and Mr. Tenaglia's mom is connected to this program, all those sorts of things. You never know why there's a chance to pay things forward, but everything happens for a reason. I don't believe there's ever a coincidence. So I hope that this gives everyone a little inspiration to take a look at this, and don't think you have to do what Brad's doing right away. Just take the residents on the tours and then start building from there, because I would say the tours are the easiest thing, right?
Oh yes, group sessions are definitely the easiest thing to do.
Yeah, so I would suggest starting somewhere like that, but as far as the impact of the intern program, like I said, I feel like we'll have a partnership for a long time with Pleasant View. I can't promise that next year I'll find another Brad, but I know that they'll be looking, so that's encouraging. Does anyone have any questions for any of us, Brad?
Yes. to the residents after you leave?
Well, my current plan is that my last day on the internship is June 8th. And from what I've been talking about with Pleasant View, it looks like that I may end up getting hired by them, and I would be working through the summer with them. And my plan is I want to stay there, that if I do ever end up leaving, I want to at least make sure that there's somebody else there that will ensure the future of the program. Like, I'm going to like train, I want to train at least 1 or 2 more people that know about as much as I do and will actually work on it. Like someone that I trust to keep this going.
So, one, I just want to thank all of you for, this is a really amazing presentation. A special thanks to Brad. Since we can't clone you, Brad, I just want to thank you for, one, your sense of awareness of the individual experiences and talking with a room full of people who value that individual, that don't lose that. That's really amazing. But my second question is just, I'm really curious to know or just hear from you all what your experience has been for people who are bedbound in nursing facilities, and have you been able to interact with those, how's it impacted them?
I have been able to work with those who are bedbound. There is a guy that works in Rainbow Terrace, like the bedbound area, and he had always wanted to go to a baseball game, and he was going downhill. So I actually took him out to a Mets baseball game using virtual reality and let him experience that. And also took him to the Mets Hall of Fame, and I mean, he was weak, but he was not strong as an individual, but he was extremely happy, and I can tell they were thrilled. Despite how sound he was, he still felt like a kid again. It was great to witness.
If I could add to that, the one thing, just mobility in general is something you have to consider. When you're talking VR, it's a 360-degree experience. And so when you choose locations, when you decide where you're taking people, you need to be aware of those limitations. Because if a person's in a wheelchair, you can't be shifting them around 180 degrees. So you want to keep their field of view sort of where the action is. But there's so much content. For instance, the Mets stadium and all that is freely available out there. It's amazing what's out there. So
Even a family member, like a Little League game, if they can't get out to their...
Yeah, in fact,
Yeah, so another step that we've talked about along the lines of the more personal touch types of things are, if a resident has always gone to the farm show and taking the cameras and the technology to the farm show and doing a virtual tour and bringing it back to the residents who can't do it, and then they can have a sign up for the farm show rather than going to Jamaica, which I would pick, but you can personalize, you can definitely personalize it, not just for the individual like Brad's done with individuals, but you can personalize it for an area. So all of you have special things that go on in your area, whether it's carnivals, shows, presentations, and if you can bring it to your residents virtually who went there 10 years ago and haven't been able to go back, that's another powerful piece that we've really been talking about.
My question, first of all, I think your project is more than commendable. And I'm sure that the residents, their families are moved by it. And we can see or hear the impact of June as well. So congratulations. My question is, I'm not tech savvy. What's the difference between this virtual trip and just going and taking videos and showing them, having them watch it on a computer? I mean, what's the point of the glasses and all this technology?
All right, well, the idea of giving a video is it's just two-dimensional, like looking at that screen. But the idea of three-dimensional is when they put this on, they see all around them. So they see what's in front, but they would also see what's on this wall to my left and to my right, and what the floor is, and what the background is. That's what else they would see. So instead of say being, so instead of watching the video, it's more like you are in the video. That's a better way to say it.
So I think I get your question. So the picture of Lee with her guitar, that's not going to be three-dimensional. But when you look at the boardwalk at Wildwood in the 50s, he can make that you can make that where she can turn and see up and down the boardwalk. So the individual pictures, you're not going to make that anything other than what you're alluding to. But when you do the research, you can bring those to life as part of that virtual walk.
And after this session, you can put those goggles on out here in the reception area and experience it yourself. So
Yes.
you'll get to actually see what this is all about. They're going to have a display where you can check all of this equipment out and you'll see for yourself. Because it's something that I think is better experienced than explained.
Yes, I'm actually, what I have outside for the headset is I have a super advanced headset that has the hand tracking motions and things like that. I just have Fruit Ninja set up on it for now, just for a little bit of a game, a little bit of entertainment. It still shows off the functionality though. Are there any other questions?
Have you found one site is better than another to get the videos, or do you just Google to get the videos of the different places to tour?
If you're looking for free 360 videos, your best bet would be YouTube. If you're looking for specific locations, like for example, say 1300 Riverville Road, that would be Google Maps. And if you were looking for professionally done 360 videos, like something that's going to be super high quality that you can download, your best bet would be going to a site like stockfootage.com, or I think it's, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I'll get back to you if I remember it. By the way, if you guys have any questions that you think of after this, our contact information, like our emails for all three of us, will be in your handout. Yes, and we'll also be at the table or the virtual reality booth, which will be a little further down.
Yeah, and I need to apologize. I have to head back to Lancaster for our school board meeting. So if you have, and I'm going to be bragging about this whole event. I just want to say thank you for your investment. My email is on here. Any information you want about reaching out to your local schools about what their intern program looks like, just send me an email. I'm glad to send everything I have. And again, thanks for your investment and for supporting a program like this. I'm hoping, like Brad said, this just takes off from here. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Does he have any interest in going
Anybody?
to school?
We have a couple
we got a few more minutes.
Anybody else?
We're starting out, we're doing all of our
You had in your handout something about some goggles or something that were very inexpensive. It said about $15.50. What was that?
That is
and as long as you follow that plan, we can afford it all and it won't have
you can get out there. It's powered by a smartphone, and you literally borderline just fold it yourself into a little thing. You slip your smartphone in. You set the phone in half with a divider, and then you literally just wear this. Pretty simple.
I think, and this is amazing, and what you're saying, what you must have done for that resident, that I mentioned to Carolyn, which you had alluded to too, is what a gift it would be. My mother is 94, and I think to have her story for me, for my children, for my grandchildren who have all been blessed, what an amazing gift that would go on and on and on. So you're not just affecting one person. It affects generations. So thank you, thank you, thank you. What an amazing idea.
To that end, Lee's family and nieces had no idea, quite a few of them had no idea how accomplished a lounge singer she was. But as part of this, discovered, and boy, they're bragging to all their friends about their great aunt now. So even for family members, it opens up a whole new world to them that they didn't understand about them.
Right. Yeah.
Educational institutions are studying the power of music and the power of memories to awaken
people that have some dementia. So I think if your work continued through our great universities, it's amazing what you've done. You are quite the catch.
Thank you. I just try my best. My mom and dad always told me this quote that I think is really applicable to here. They always told me to come in with a can-do attitude, and if you don't know how to do it, come back knowing how to do it.
Wow. Yes. Yay for mom and dad. Any other questions? I want to give a shout out to Pleasant View too, for a facility to. We just spent an hour and a half before your session talking about person-centered care. It doesn't get more person-centered. And I would think that through the research and the experience of the residents reliving their memories, that it's easier for the staff to see the residents they care for as people, as individuals, and all of the contributions that they've brought to our communities. You've personalized the residents in Pleasant View in a very, very special way. And this is just such a great example for other providers. We're going to talk it up on our end for both of you. And like I said, you got to go out and put them goggles on and check it out.
I just want to thank you all again for having me here. I mean, from what I've heard, I'm the youngest presenter to ever be here. To me, it's just mind-blowing, though, still, like I said, that this 18-year-old teenager is standing in front of a bunch of adults and people that know way more than me and are way more wise beyond their years compared to me. I still have so much
Thank you. So, one more round of applause for Brad, for Brad's family, Brad's mom and dad. Thank you so very much. Oh my God, you guys. All right, everybody, thank you. Please leave your emails here. We're going to be doing our reception next, right outside in the hallway. And you can try the virtual reality out for yourself.